Hello and welcome back to Marvel Puzzle Quest with me, P.I. McLeod, and let's see if this stream goes a little smoother than last one. I mean, yesterday was a little bumpy with that lag, but hey, things change. We should be good now, right? Come on, let's go. What are we here for today? Well, we're here to rank the 4 stars of 2021 as they exit out and start to, well, we welcome in 2022, what, tomorrow? Yeah. So I hope you guys had a good amount of time with 2021's peeps, and you probably found combos that you like and love, but hey, now that you've had some time and experience with them, it's a good time to go over them and see what rose to the top. So I'm not caring who I'm going against because I'm not gonna fight them, even though I could. And let's see, 4 stars, alphabetical order. Okay, we're going to go A to Z, alphabetical order. The 2 loners at the top, those peeps, we're going to save them for the correct place in alphabetical order as long as I remember. I have a problem with sometimes forgetting, where they belong. So Hydra Stomper and Kate Pride can wait their turn, right? Okay, so let's start off. Beast, or shall I say Dark Beast? He's only at the top because of, B is for Beast as the alphabet goes, but everyone calls him Dark Beast on MPQ. No one's calling him 4-star Beast, at least not that I've ever seen. Dark Beast came into MPQ after a long time after the original 3-star Hank McCoy showed up in the game, and he offered a much different set of abilities. I mean, it's not like it was so different, but different enough. So regular Hank McCoy is like, here's some special tiles to help you. I'm going to heal the team. And I got to go crazy, hit the team with this ability, board shake power too. He's nice, but he's not the best. That's a far cry. Dark Beast, however, is a whole different kit. Dark Beast is a good tank character with some special tile creation and an often overlooked way to generate extra AP on the side. And let me show you how. Let's start with Bleeding Edge, okay? This is probably one of the best powers he has, at least in my opinion, and can help you make a team, well, make him into your tank for your team. He just needs a little support. So what it does is friendly attack tiles deal 5% less damage, which is kind of weird because, who's counting that 5%, right? But whatever. But Beast match damage is increased by 57% for every black AP you have. So yes, that means 2 black AP and you're already over 100% match damage. Pretty crazy, right? Whenever an enemy matches a friendly special tile, Beast creates 3 Strength 117 black Protect tiles. That might not seem like much, but there's a reason for it. We'll get to that in a second, okay? Hey John, how's it going, man? So right here, all you need is just a little bit of black AP and Dark Beast becomes a, well, beast. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's better than Juggernaut or better than other characters because of this match damage, but he can quickly outpace a lot of other characters when it comes to match damage with just a little black. He's super strong when you start to bank that, and there's a lot of ways to get black AP, so don't overlook this. Let's go to the blue scientific method. This is one of the reasons why that black is so important. So as an active power for 8 blue, you get to make 2 4-turn red countdown tiles that make 3 blue or green attack tiles that are very low strength, okay? When this countdown goes off, though, you stun a random target for 2 turns. Now remember, you're making 2 of them. They're not fortified, but there is 2 of them out there. You could potentially stun 2 people, but they're both 4-turn tiles. We know they're not going to make it, right? It's rare, but hey, I guess the chance is there. But it makes those tiles each turn, and that's really what you're there for. The passive stating, if any friendly matches include a friendly special tile, you gain 3 additional AP. Yes, it's additional AP of that color. You want to rewind a minute? Remember this Bleeding Edge? Whenever an enemy matches a friendly special tile, Beast creates 3 Strength 117 black protect tiles. In other words, all those extra tiles you're putting out there, when the enemy matches them, Beast makes 3 more black protect tiles. So if you make a friendly match with one of those black protect tiles, you're going to get 3 more black AP. You see the nice little loop he has here? It's often not talked about. He feeds himself very well. And finally there's his green. It's still good. It's just obviously the least of the 3. For 9 green, you deal some damage to the enemy team, which is, it's okay. But for every 2 projectiles you have on the board, which you could have plenty with the way those get created, right? You gain 1 black AP. He just creates it. You just gain black AP because you have protects out there. Simple as that. For every 2 attack tiles on the board, you gain 1 blue AP, which he could put to use making more special tiles, couldn't he? It's a very solid kit. This is very unlike 3-star Hank McCoy, where he had a healing and he had a defense shtick going on. No. This beast is all about how can I cause more damage to you with more tiles on the board. He basically likes to control the board with tiles and gain a ton of AP while doing it. Remember, you get some more AP for matching friendly tiles. This goes for any color, not just for him. So maybe you have a yellow user on your team and there's a yellow special. If you match it, that's more AP, more yellow AP for you than before. Dark Beast is often overlooked, and I don't really know why. Like, he's a really solid character, and when you look at the roster of 2021 4-stars, there's some good people in here, but he's definitely... Ooh, man, I'm tempted to say high tier. Like, when you look at what we're looking at here, out of this class, I think he's high tier. I'm going to reserve that as high tier for now, and we're going to get back to it. I'll change it if need be, but I'm not seeing anyone that could really go toe-to-toe like that out of this class that easily. There's some contenders, but he's super strong. What was that, John? Sounds out? Back? That's crazy. Okay, I don't like that, John. That's not cool. Why? Done nothing. Okay. Let's move on to Blob. Oh, hey, I want to keep him there. Let's move on over here. Come on, big guy. I like to take personal credit for Blob. I feel like Blob got put into MPQ because literally, and I wish I was joking on this, but I'm not, every time they put out a survey from the creation of MPQ till 2021, I was the guy putting in for the Blob. Why? I grew up with X-Men cartoons and the X-Men arcade game, and the Blob was the first boss, and you could hear it all around the arcade. Nothing can move the Blob. And I remember this guy. Nothing could move him, literally. It's a great paradox. All these awesome superpowers, and this guy's just sitting there, well, being fat and in charge. I loved it. I don't know why, I just do. Anyways, let's get into it. The Blob, or should I say, Fred Dukes. It's hard to remember his name sometimes, but anyways, Fred Dukes is a big guy that is kind of like Dark Beast. He is really good at tanking, and he should be, shouldn't he? He should be really good at taking hits as well as delivering hits. He's kind of like another Juggernaut in those ways, but he's not. Let's get right down to what he's good at. Weapon trapping. This is his passive. This is his moneymaker. I'm just going to say it straight up. If there's any protect, attack, or strike tiles in the bottom 2 rows, those get converted into friendly 1-turn countdowns. And when they expire, they have an effect based on what the tile is. Strikes will increases match damage by 120%. Attacks just outright deal damage, and protects will heal him. And that's true healing, by the way. So he's already got built-in ways to take care of himself, to deal damage, and to increase his match damage. And this is all in one ability. But you might be sitting there thinking, but hey, someone's got to provide him those tiles. And yes, you're right. This is true. I mean, have you looked around MPQ? there's enemies and friends alike that are always creating tiles. There's usually not a shortage. But, you know, still, it is noted. He's not Dark Beast where he could just create it out of black AP. So, keep that in mind. We're going to move to Unmovable, which is kind of funny to say. Move to Unmovable. Anyways, this is another passive for him. If the enemy is already made their first match and would do damage with a second match, Blob moves to the front and he creates a projectile. A pretty strong one, mind you. But also passively, all match damage dealt to Blob is reduced by 90%. So yes, he's kind of like Juggernaut in the fact that he's going to take a lot less match damage. And he's also going to create projectiles when the enemy cascades. That cascade is sweet because people do it all the time. So it isn't based on damage and then make a match, though. It has to be like a second or later match to get that projectile to trigger. But hey, now the projectile's out there, so I guess Blob has a way of healing himself, right? Anyways. Oh, yeah, John. Blob, Hawkeye, Polaris, definitely. I'm more of a fan of Blob, Rocket, Polaris, but yeah, totally get it. Bring down the house, finally, for his green is just a way to get more tiles down low. Because, as you saw, only the bottom 2 rows get weapon trapped, you know, absorbed into countdowns. He destroys up to 12 random basic and team-up tiles in the bottom half of the board, basically causing any tiles up high to, well, cascade down low. That way, you can just turn them into stuff and Blob gets stronger. He does need help. He needs tile help. He can make his own protects, but he can't make strikes and he can't make attacks. And that's where he fails. He is not Dark Beast because of that alone. But if you just heard me talking with John here, John's talking about Blob, Hawkeye, Polaris, you know, because obviously Polaris is the queen of strike tile making. And more strikes mean, well, did you look at this ability? I just want to repeat, 120% increase just because of one strike tile? And then never mind the fact that there's no cap. That's the difference between Blob and Dark Beast. Dark Beast has a cap. 30 black AP is your cap. You can't get more black, right? Blob doesn't have a cap. Keep making strikes. Keep absorbing them. He can get stronger than a 5-star. Easily. Blob can be super, super strong. But of course you need time and strike tiles to do it. Polaris is definitely an ideal teammate for him. I also want to just remind you that weapon trapping makes 1-turn countdowns. So he's also good friends with Mantis or Drax or Hawkeye or anyone else who likes countdowns expiring. So Blob's got a lot of different facets to him, despite just being a simple fat guy, right? Right. For these reasons, I'd like to think Blob is pretty high, but he's not, again, he's not self-sustaining like Dark Beast is. Blob needs help to get some things rolling, even whether it's from the enemy or from his friends. So I'd say he's like a high mid-tier. He's definitely capable of absorbing damage, definitely capable of dishing it out, and capable on his own of protection and healing. So I wouldn't underestimate him. It just, when he gets the right friends involved with him, he becomes devastating. You sound like my children with no cap. That's funny. Okay, after Blob, let's move on over to Doc Ock, the new 4-star Doc Ock. And I say new because, well, he's the newest one. We've had a couple other Doc Ocks in the game. So we were all, I don't know about you, but highly anticipating the movie Doc Ock to finally get involved. He comes on into the game with very welcome power set, especially since the 5-star one was, well, underwhelming to say the least. 4-star Doc Ock is, it's hard to say if there's anyone as reliable at getting rid of special tiles. 4-star Doc Ock really can clear the enemy tiles off the board with no problem. And it's all because of, which one is it? Is it a Mind of Their Own? Nope. God, it's the Call to Arms, isn't it? All three of his powers are really good, so forgive me for not remembering which one is which. But Call to Arms passive, I'm skipping the active part, okay? The passive here, when you make a blue, black, or yellow match, create a tentacle tile in that turn. At this of that color in that turn. At the start of the turn, remove all enemy strike, protect, and attack tiles in colors shared with friendly tentacle tiles. So in other words, all you need to do is make a match. Let's say it's a black match. Now you have a black tentacle tile. At the start of your next turn, before anything happens, all black enemy special tiles are gone. All because you have a black tentacle tile. And guess what? You keep the tentacle tile. It doesn't go away. It's not like you spend it. It's not a currency. It stays there. As long as it has been matched or destroyed, it'll keep all your black tiles, in this scenario, free of enemy specials. So now imagine it again for blue and for yellow, those three colors mentioned there. He's going to clear out enemy tiles really easily. As an attack, it's still pretty good. You shuffle the board and deal a good amount of, okay amount of damage really, to the enemy team for each color of friendly tentacle on the board, and then you remove those friendly tentacle tiles. So there's only 6 different colors of tentacles you can make, so there is a cap on this, but if you get up to 6 tentacle tiles, I mean that's good team damage for a 4-star. Just call it what it is. It's not hard to make them again, so get right back on that horse and do it again. Let's move on to a Mind of Their Own, because this is what makes the black really shine. As an active ability, I want to point out for 6 blue, which is super cheap, he can choose a basic pair of tiles or enemy strike, protect, or attack tiles and swap them to convert them to tentacle tiles. I'm going to reword that for people who might not be catching on. You have a tile swapper here for 6 blue. There's not a lot of tile swappers in the game. Coulson with his purple, 3-star Quicksilver with his black. Those are just a couple of them right there, and that's Bagman with his purple, and that's super expensive. There's not a lot of people that could just take tiles and swap them, and it's super handy to have. And keep in mind, because they're far and few between. Anyways, as a passive, at the start of the turn, if there's a friendly tentacle sharing a color with another friendly one, so let's say you have 2 black tentacle tiles, right? One of them remakes itself onto an adjacent basic tile that does not share a color with another friendly tentacle tile. If any of your tentacles do this, it also deals damage. So making your yellow, blue, and black tile matches is going to make passive tentacles. And as those are out there, as you get copies of yellow, blue, and black ones, they're going to, at the start of your turn, try to recreate themselves onto green, red, and yellow tiles. And when it does that, they will do damage just for doing that. And at the same time, now you have green, red, and yellow. I'm sorry, I said yellow. I should have said, I said purple. Green, red, and purple tentacle tiles that are clearing the board of enemy specials. It sounds complicated. It's not. It's just match your colors. He's going to do all the work for you and do damage and keep the board clean. He's really effective. And finally, there's Unbounded Potential, which is not a bad power either, even though I saved it for last. 7 yellow, choose a non-yellow tile. You get 4 AP of that color. You just get it. Like, oh, I'm choosing green. Oh, you get 4 green. And then you also restore some health and grant a burst of health to your allies. And if there's a friendly tentacle in that color, you get an extra 2. So do the math. 4 AP plus 2 AP equals 6, right? For 1 7 yellow cast, you can do a free tile swap. What does a free tile swap get you? 2 more tentacles in colors of your choice. And then at 6 different colors of tentacles, you have a nice team damager. Meanwhile, your whole board is clean of enemy specials. He's super effective. The only thing that he's missing is quicker, more efficient damage. I mean, sure, he's got damage built in on these abilities, but they're kind of like little damages. He's there more as a support character to keep the enemy tiles away and keep the board in your favor. Is he good? Oh yeah, he's definitely good. I'm struggling not to put him at high tier right now. I feel like he deserves it. I'm looking around again. How do I not put him at high tier for 4-star land? With this being the cast, I think he has to be. He's self-sufficient. He has a cheap swap. He gets rid of enemy specials really super simply. Yeah, he's high tier easily. I just kind of wish I've had more of a use for him. He only comes up more often when I need someone to swap a tile or to clear enemy specials. But hey, he's effective at it when I want to use him. Okay. Enough of Doc Ock. Let's move on to Echo. Maya Lopez came into MPQ with me with a big question mark saying, who is this? I did not know about Echo before. And ironically, it was at that time that I was starting to watch the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus. And like, oh, that's Echo. Got it. That's cool. Anyways, she has a somewhat interesting kit, but it's a lot of little things that don't necessarily go together. She seems to be like they took a bunch of different MPQ characters from the past and just hodgepodged them together, and I'm not just talking about her red. I feel like it's like a bunch of different abilities, not just within her red. You'll see what I'm saying. Yeah, that's true, John. He does passively combat the ultimate 4-star. So, yeah, we're talking about Polaris in that thing, but he does not combat Karnak, does he? But yeah, you're right. Polaris definitely is afraid of Doc Ock. Okay, for Echo, I am starting with Iron Fist, this Iron Fist wannabe ability, this whole shtick here. Let's start the first one. See, she has 3 different abilities. Female Taskmaster or human dupe. Yeah, I guess you could say it like that. So Echo comes in with this 3 different reds, and you get to choose which one you want. They're okay. They're just decent versions of already existing powers. So we know what Billy Club is from 3-star Daredevil, right? Well, this is a red version of it. Maybe you want a red AP version of Billy Club, which, remember, red stuns are hard to come by, right? And Billy Club is not a bad stun because, remember, it's a stun based on a countdown and that recreates itself. And, you know, that's not bad, really, at the end of the day. If you have a good way of getting red AP, you could keep people in a stun loop all day. Deadly Precision is a Hawkeye thing. Not Hawkeye, geez, Bullseye thing. I can really quote things right now, can't I? For 11 red, 5 chosen basic team tiles, destroy, damage. It's a good cascade maker. Definitely good for like clearing out certain things you want. It's just what 3-star Bullseye has, and to be fair, 2-star as well. But it's expensive. If you ask me, it's 11 red, and I think that's a little too much. I don't think, I mean, that damage is nice for the cost, but I don't know. For a 5-tile destroy, I feel like it should be cheaper than 11. I'm not sure. It's just me. Finally, there's Iron Fist. I don't know why this is 7 red. I mean, it's a good ability, but the Iron Fist ability was 5. I thought it was 5 purple. It's costs 2 more red to do this. So, anyways. If you did less than 12 black, convert 9 basic tiles to black, which is kind of fun. She does have a black ability after all. If the team is 12 or more black, instead she just does a bunch of damage. Out of all of her abilities, all 3 of these reds, I do like to go with the Iron Fist ability just because it has the potential to do damage. It could do board shake. It could do match 4s, which we'll get into in a moment. And it can feed her black ability. I feel like this actually fits her kit pretty well. Anyways, that's just my opinion, though. Moving on to Physical Prodigy. Good aim guy thing. Nice, John. Okay. Physical Prodigy is a passive that states, basically, her powers and matches deal 95, which is a weird number, % more damage each time a power is fired by the enemy team. It can only go up to a max of 285 though. So in other words, it's only going to power itself up like 3 times. But still, 285% match damage and power damage? That's not bad. It takes Dark Beast like 6 black to get there. Yes, I said that sarcastically. At the start of the turn, if Echo's in front, she also makes a red strike tile. Interesting, right? Speaking of Dark Beast, there's a red special tile out there for you. Match it for red AP, and then Echo can have more fun. Anyways, Undercover Expert is a purple passive that states whenever you the player, make a match 4 or greater, you get a black or purple enemy trap tile. When you match or destroy that tile, you deal a bunch of damage. So, kind of like Jessica Jones in the fact that you get these passive enemy traps out there that if you match or destroy them, you do damage. Well, Echo has this too, but you have to make match 4s to create them. You don't just get them passively like Jessica does. When one of those is on the board, though, Echo takes 60% less damage from enemy matches and powers. So let's get this straight. She's taking 60% less damage from enemy matches and powers, and she can do up to 285% more match damage and power damage. And she has the potential of a stun ability or a cascade into more black ability, which she's not really going to use the black much. Someone else could use it. There's some good potential in here, but the problem is all these abilities are spread in a really weird way. She's relying on match 4s to get this power. This power literally does nothing unless you make a match 4 or better. If you have a dry board, this isn't doing anything for you. That's the kind of the sad thing about this. You need that match 4 or better to do this. Physical Prodigy is really fun, but you're relying on the enemy team to fire off a power. If they don't fire off a power, you're not getting that boost. And she has to be in front, aka she has to tank in order to make those strike tiles. And then finally this thing, I mean, they're all neat abilities, but they do require some AP to fire off, and they're not really that much better than their other counterparts besides being leveled up to a 4-star version of them. In the end of the day, I think she's more like a mid-tier character. She has great potential, but she needs other pieces of the puzzle around her to really make her work. So, unfortunately, Echo, I think you're more like a mid-tier. You have the kit, you just don't have, well, like it all your own self. Thank you, John, for confirming about the purple for Iron Fist. Here's Icarus. Here's another character that he was amazing when he came out, and now he's just kind of forgotten about. I'm not sure why, because he still does what he does really super well. And there's a mechanic of his that is often overlooked. Let's start off with... I'm going to guess with the Gift of Levitation, because that's honestly his selling point right here. For 6 purple, pretty cheap, right? He goes airborne for 4 turns. Simple as that, right? At the start of his turn, if he's airborne, let's go in order of the ability here. If he has no active allies, even though he's airborne, he'll still make a match. Now, it's a computer making a match for you, so it's not a match that you choose, but still he's going to make a match. You get the AP, you do the damage, all that stuff, right? Now, whenever a friendly match is made while he's airborne, and that includes when he's by himself, okay, he deals 380% of his match damage to the enemy in the back. So the dude in the back, the one you're not targeting, could get slapped super hard, all because Icarus is airborne. This is a great way of doing basically double duty. You're slapping someone up front, and Icarus is slapping the guy in the back. Super effective. Not to mention, it's 380% of the match damage. I'm going to say this next part, and it's going to be kind of weird. It's based on the match damage being done. You may think this sounds weird because it doesn't word it like that, but trust me when I say I've done this with Okoye a stupid amount of times. So his match damage is based on whoever's doing the match damage. So I've had Okoye, a 5-star who's well champed right now in my roster. hits somebody, and Icarus is doing 380% of that damage to the dude back in the back. It's not talked about often enough, but I don't even know if it's a glitch. I don't know if it's purposeful, but I definitely abuse it when Icarus is boosted because it is really fun to just do like a nice 2 to 3 match cascade with a 5-star character, and Icarus is using that giant boost of his to really just hammer into somebody from behind. Anyways, moving on from Gift of Levitation, Cosmic Blast. It's 8 red, so it's a little pricey, but it does some decent damage for the cost. It ignores enemy projectiles, and if you use it the turn you come back from being airborne, meaning he touches down, right, and you use it right then, you also generate 4 purple and 4 yellow. Of course, it generates less at level 3, like I have it, but, I mean, it's AP generation. Why wouldn't you save your red? If you know you're putting Icarus up in the sky, save your red and cast it when he comes back from being airborne. What is purple and yellow to you? Oh, I don't know. That's him going back up in the sky. That's super amazing. And finally, there's the yellow, Rise Again. Don't overlook this. I have it at 5 for a reason. As a passive, can we skip to the second paragraph? I mean, I think this is more important right now. His match damage is increased by 25% for every yellow AP you have. Kind of like Dark Beast, right? Like a light version of him. It's not 57% like Dark Beast is, but hey, oh well. 25% for every yellow AP you have. Don't forget, when he's in the air, it's 360% boost. So then you have this 25% per yellow as well. It's quite ridiculous. It adds up super high, super fast. And now the top paragraph, at the start of your turn, if Icarus is down and you have 9 or more yellow, you lose all your yellow, and Icarus comes back to life with full health and goes airborne for 5 turns. How ridiculous is that? Why don't people abuse this more? Icarus he does boosted damage, he can generate AP with his red when he comes back from it, and he has revival capabilities built in as a passive. How amazing is that? Just no one talks about him enough, to be quite honest, and it's kind of a shame. I don't see a glaring flaw in his package besides, the fact that he kind of relies on being airborne. But okay, was it 6 purple and he's up in the sky? Who else could help him out? Oh, I don't know. Team him with Throg. All of a sudden, Throg puts the whole team up in the air, and Icarus is still fighting. That's ridiculous. There's other ways to put him up in the air, and you could take full advantage of a lot of this stuff. Yes, it is totally possible to make like Throg, Vulture, and Icarus. So now Vulture is generating AP, and Icarus is slapping people around, and no one can touch you. Super fun stuff you could play with. I don't even know how to rate him low. I don't think that's possible. He's definitely more useful than Maya, or should I say Echo. He's can definitely out-damage people like Doc Ock. Doc Ock doesn't have any special tiles to grab onto for him. He's self-sufficient, unlike the Blob. His only challenger at this time that we just went over is Dark Beast. And quite frankly, Icarus might win that fight because Icarus can go airborne and get away from him. But yeah, target practice for Elsa, right, John? Very few characters, speaking of that, there are very few characters that can target airborne people and bring them down. So, again, 2021 is an amazing year, and this Icarus is definitely a good example of it. I have to rate him high as well. I did miss a person in order, so let's go on back to the Hydra Stomper. 2021 is an amazing year, but then there's the Hydra Stomper. Hydra Stomper is easily low tier. I'm just going to say it right out in front. He's got some cool abilities on paper, but they just don't flesh out that well in the game. His big reason to use him would probably be the Engine of War. It's a passive, as most good things are. The first time the Hydra Stomper makes a non-team-up match, basically a colored match, right, in a turn, and it has to be him making it. So in other words, he's going to be your tank. You destroy 2 friendly and enemy AP in that color. So if you make a green match, for example, and it's Hydra Stomper doing it, then you're destroying 2 friendly green and 2 enemy green in that color. And you also create a 2-turn countdown tile that generates 6 AP in that color. So you're getting more out of it, but it's more like a down payment and investment sort of thing. If the match was made against a villain, you get 8 AP instead. They can be really profitable. You can get a lot of good AP out of these abilities, but you can only do this once per turn. The good thing is you are spending 2 AP of your own to actually reduce the enemy's AP as well. Like maybe you see Icarus sitting there with 6 purple and you're like, oh god, he's going to go up in the sky. Well, if you can make a purple match with Hydra Stomper, well, now he's got 4. He's not going up in the sky this turn, is he? So there's some stuff to this. It's a little more cerebral. Then there's Stomp. We'll say this one next. For 10 green, which is a little too pricey in my opinion, he destroys 9 random enemy basic or team-up tiles. For the rest of this turn, any new black tiles that fall down, which makes people think of Domino right away if you're not already, are 2-turn countdown tiles that deal extra damage, like a good amount extra damage for what they are. These destroyed tiles will deal damage but do not gain any AP. So you have a chance for a bunch of countdown tiles that could do a lot more damage, but they are 2-turn countdowns. They're not fortified. They're not safe. The problem with making Domino a partner here, if you're thinking about it already, is that quite often she lets down too many black, and then you just matched away your own countdown tiles. So it doesn't really work as well as you want it to when you do it that way, that is. And then finally there's the front line. Front line's a pretty special ability as well, but honestly I don't see the point in having it too high. For 8 yellow, you convert 3 basic tiles of the enemy team's weakest color to a pretty decent strength friendly protect tiles. So in other words, they're on the weakest color, so you know the enemy who doesn't want to touch them as much. As a passive, Hydra Stomper is unstunnable. He cannot be stunned, and if Peggy is your partner, neither can she. That's pretty cool, but it's very niche. So Hydra Stomper is a nice unstunnable character right off the rip. Are you throwing Peggy Carter in with him? Probably not. I mean, I don't see that team being that successful. But, I mean, there is that bonus there if you're going to do it. At the end of the day, he takes a long time to get rolling. This Engine of War, you're not getting your AP payout for a couple turns. All these stomp tiles don't take effect for 2 turns. And that this front line, it's good protection, but I mean, it's 8 yellow. Let's call it what it is. It's expensive. The best thing about this yellow is the fact that he is unstunnable. It's just a kind of a low-end package. Nothing's guaranteed. And, well, yeah, he's low tier. What's that? Domino Hydra Stomper new meta? Nah, not at all, man. Not at all. Okay, so after Hydra Stomper, I have to go with the next one in line, which would be K is for Kate. Kate Pride. So unfortunately, Kate Pride is not really like 5-star Kitty at all. This Kate, do you want the regular outfit on? Or the new one? I like the new one. Kate Pride is pretty cool, but she's not 5-star Kitty cool. And it's not just because she's a lower tier. There's a whole different shtick to what she does when it comes to how she plays with special tiles. And it's all based on this not just a phase. So at the start of the turn, she makes a 2-turn fortified green repeater. She does not have a green power, keep in mind, so it's keeping it away from colors that she likes to use. And that collects the strength of all matched or destroyed strike, protect, or attack tiles. So, you know, she's fun with Polaris, in other words, right? When it goes off, it deals 850% of the collected strength as damage to the target. But there is a max. And that's where this power loses me and pretty much the rest of the community. If it's going to do 850% of everything it's gained, just don't cap it, please. But they capped it, and that's unfortunately to Kate Pride's detriment. she's probably not going to see that much play for that alone. But moving on, the red queen is actually a pretty good power too. For 8 red, you get 3 purple, 4 turn countdowns that deal damage to the target each turn. So there's 3 countdown tiles, and each of them hit each turn. That's a lot of different hits that can be boosted by strikes or other characters that boost damage. Read between the lines. When this tile expires, you steal up to 4 enemy strike, protect, or attack tiles and improve them. So now they're your tiles, they've been improved, and of course if they get matched or destroyed away, what do you care? They go right into your not just a phase. And finally there's Safe Harbor, another yellow protection ability. For 6, which is pretty cheap, she creates 5 blue protect tiles of decent strength and improves 4 friendly special tiles by a good amount as well. As a passive, friendly special tiles are actually 48% stronger for each active mutant on her team. So special tiles get stronger just because she's there. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, I have to say she's probably like a high-low tier. She's not Hydra Stomper bad, but she's not that great either. Her thing is she needs tiles to get going, and she doesn't make them herself that easily. She needs to get some abilities fired off to get that. And then on top of it, this thing has a cap on it, so it's not even going to be that good at the end of the day because, well, she doesn't get max usage out of it. Red Queen is 8 red, and it has great ability to deal damage across 3 different things, but they are just countdowns. They aren't fortified. They are very vulnerable, and you're stealing strike, protect, or attack tiles. What if there are none on the board? This thing isn't doing anything then. Safe Harbor is okay. It is protection, but the best thing you're getting out of it is that passive to improve friendly special tiles. Which, by the way, are you making any? Besides that yellow, you're not making any, are you? So she definitely relies on having teammates along, and right now, just as is, she's just a protect player. It's kind of like a worse version of Blob. Blob only makes protect tiles, but at least he's got built-in defense and built-in ways to cascade and shake everything down and ways to actually eat up the enemy tiles passively. Kate doesn't have that. So, sorry Kate, you're definitely like a low tier, but just a little above Hydra Stomper. I hate saying that, but it's true. After Kate, we go on to Lizard. Lizard is one of my unsung favorites, or should I say sung favorites, because honestly, I talk about him enough, I think. Lizard, I guess if I'm going to start anywhere, I'm going to start with R Complex, because why wouldn't I? R Complex is very special to MPQ, in my opinion. It's 7 purple. You get 4 fortified repeaters in the bottom row. That should be enough for you right there. 4 fortified repeaters? That's super cool. They're repeaters. They constantly trigger, right? They're 1-turn repeaters. They're fortified, so fortified people love him. Shuri, Heimdall, Odin, Black Panther, you get the point. Misty Knight. Anyway, I'm going to stop there. Every turn, what the repeater does is they swap themselves up 1 space, and they convert any swapped blue tile to red, which I kind of keep forgetting about that, to be quite honest. When one of those repeater tiles reaches the top row, it gets removed, and its fortification, and deals a good amount of damage. Now, keep in mind, this is tiles going up. Everything in this game has gravity, I mean tiles-wise, so it's much easier for them to fall down. So it isn't very likely that they go up, not to mention the fact that it's like, what, 8 tiles for a column? So if it starts at the bottom, you need at least 7 swaps upward to get a single tile up there. Don't bank on this for doing the damage. That's not the point. The point is, for each of these repeater tiles on the board, Lizard's taking 6% less damage. And there is no cap on that. Or is there? There is a cap. It doesn't tell you. Take it from me. I've casted this thing 3 to 4 times in one fight before, and if there's too many R complexes on the board, it'll give you a big warning on the screen saying that you can't cast this again. It's just you're not allowed to have too many R complexes going. You might ask yourself, why would I want so many art complexes? Do you know how many fortified tiles you could play with people like Heimdall and Shuri? Plenty. There's so many things you could do. Remember, Shuri does extra damage when matching fortified tiles. And, oh yeah, these things refortify themselves when they swap up. So when they go up the board, if they lost their fortification, they regain it. For 7 purple, you have repeaters that will not easily lose their fortification. I can't sing enough praise about that ability. It's super cheap, super effective. Next up is Tail Whip for 7 black. I broke Lizard. For Tail Whip is 7 black. You deal damage, and it's okay damage for the cost, and stun the target for 3 turns. Again, this is a black stun. It's not common. It's pretty nice. He's also got a passive built in though, so when he takes a certain amount of damage or more, you reduce the damage by a decent amount and create a 2-turn countdown that restores health to him each turn. That's really good restoration, honestly. But the only problem is when that countdown tile's out there, he cannot do a tail whip. So he can't stun somebody because, well, he lost his tail. He's got to regrow it. It's okay. It doesn't happen that often. Honestly, he's probably not your tank. There's plenty of other characters that do tank in this game. And if you have Lizard tanking, well, that's probably where this is going to happen. Anyways, if someone's going to hit you really hard, use the tail whip against them first. Stun them. Duh. Anyways, finally, Ectothermic. 7 green. Notice how everything's 7s? It's kind of interesting, at least in my opinion. For 7 green, you deal damage to the enemy team. If there's 11 or fewer blue tiles, you deal extra amount of damage to a random enemy. If there are at least 7 red tiles on the board, deal extra damage to a random enemy. This is easily his worst ability, in my opinion. Yes, it's cheap, but I put it down to 3 because there's damage, but then there's extra damage on a stipulation, and then more extra damage on a stipulation. I don't need no stipulations. His purple and his black are super good enough. Why wouldn't I keep those at 5? Easy 3-5-5 build, in my opinion. If you didn't notice already, easily teaming with Shuri, because remember, Shuri says when you have 5 or more fortified tiles out there, everything is 3 AP cheaper. So you telling me we're casting R complexes for 4? We're doing tail whips for 4? Yes. Yes, we are. You are easily going to stun lock the opposing team. Unfortunately, everything I just said lends to him being awesome with other people. R complex is cool because of what it does for fortifications and repeaters, both of which I'm relying on other characters like Shuri, like Heimdall, and then also like Human Torch. 4-star Human Torch uses repeaters to do more damage, doesn't he? Tail Whip is really cool for a 4 black AP stun. 7 black stun is still not bad, but I don't know. It's just so much cooler when it hits 4. Some of these things that he can do are only done because his teammates allow him to do it. So, as is, I think I would just rank him a mid-tier. He's a character with a toolkit, and if you know what characters to put with this toolkit, you'll go far. But, unfortunately, he doesn't have it all himself to make it work. So, he's a nice mid-tier. Go from one lizard to another. Here's Loki. Gator Loki, that is. I was kind of shocked when they put him in the game. We all kind of heard the rumors when it was coming down the mill, but hey, the Loki show was super good on Disney Plus, and they decided to troll us all by throwing one of those Lokis into this game, and it was this one. They could have put any of the other ones in, but they used this one. Oh well, it's been a fun addition, to be quite honest. It goes well with the animal teams. Thankfully, this animal is actually really good. Him and Throg are like best buds in this game, even though they're really not. To start off with, let's go with Just a Log. It's one of the few passives in the game that starts right at turn 0. Like the game starts and he's already fired it off. He goes invisible for 5 turns right off the bat in the beginning of the game. Now, whenever you match or destroy a purple charge tile, he reinvigorates that bringing it right back up to a 5 turns of invisible. While he's invisible, his powers are really called Death Roll, to which whenever the enemy matches a charge tile, he deals damage and creates a purple charge tile. Yes, he loves charge tiles. If you didn't know before, Gator Loki is a charge tile lover. He loves them. So put plenty of them out there. Let the enemies match those charge tiles. Let Gator Loki swallow them whole. Along with that comes Instigator, which is just a funny pun. Come on, where else were they getting this from? For 7 black, you swap 16 pairs, dealing a good chunk of damage for each swapped charge tile. That's really good damage, honestly. 16 pairs? Do the math, that's 32 tiles. That's half the board. You're dealing that much damage for each swapped tile? If you happen to grab 32 charge tiles, you just obliterated pretty much any 5-star out there. There's a lot of damage there. Now, of course, that's unboosted, but still. If Loki's invisible when you do this, then he also converts 4 basic or any enemy special tiles to charge tiles, and it targets the enemy tiles first when doing this. So 7 black could get you potentially 4 more charge tiles just because you're invisible on top of all the damage you're doing. Very good ability. Won plenty of matches because of this. Well, that and being invisible. And finally there's Get Help, which, fun quote from the movie. 6 yellow. You deal damage to the enemy team, and it's a small amount, but I want to note that this is a yellow ability that deals damage to the enemy team. Usually that's reserved for like Avengers Assemble from Nick Fury, or like, the 5-star Captain America version. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird to see a yellow damage the enemy team ability that isn't on one of the commanders, people that command a team. Anyways, deal damage to the enemy team and create 3 charge tiles in Loki's team's strongest color. Now, I want you to remember that if he is the strongest person on your team, that means it's purple. So you're getting 3 purple charge tiles, which is really handy for going invisible. Anyways, as a passive, when Loki or an ally matches a charge tile in their strongest color, you get a burst of health. So there's healing built into your charge tiles too. He's pretty easy to use. He's kind of like, user-friendly. Plug and play. Put him in with your charge tile favorites. Throg really loves him as a friend. And you could use him to good effect with other ones too, like 4-star Hammercap, as we call him, or Negasonic, or Storm. I should clarify, 5-star Storm, 4-star Jane Foster Thor. Put in these charge tile peeps. There's good synergy there. He makes really good use of charge tiles and punishes the enemies who are trying to use them. Because let's face it, charge tiles, their worst part is that if you make them, the enemy could get that AP and damage from you, but Loki gives him another reason to pause. Oh yeah, what would I rank him? I'd say he's like a high mid-tier. He's not quite exactly mid like Lizard, but I'd say he's more a high mid-tier because he does have invisibility. He can make a good amount of AP. He has healing built in. He has clapback ability built in. The only problem is that if he doesn't get charge tiles out there, he's kind of like naked and scared. Okay, so he needs that, but thankfully he starts with it, so he's got a good shot. Moving on to Mantis. Mantis is one of those unsung heroes in this game too. She's got a lot of cool potential. She's definitely one of those characters that benefits from countdown based peeps, and well, we'll look to see why. You Are Afraid is definitely her hallmark. As a passive, whenever you match or destroy an enemy special tile, and that's any enemy special tile, we're not talking strikes, attacks, protects, we're talking anything, you create a 1-turn purple countdown that stuns a random enemy for 4 turns. If it hits an enemy that's already stunned, though, they take a ton of damage. Can I repeat that this is passive? So, as long as you're matching enemy or destroying enemy tiles, you're going to get these 1-turn countdowns, and they're going to stun for a good amount of time and or do damage to an already stunned person. And you spent 0 AP to have this happen. That's pretty awesome. Didn't we just go over some characters with 1-turn countdowns? You know, like the Blob. That was kind of a big deal, wasn't it? No pun intended there. There's plenty of other 1-turn countdown creators out there, and Mantis just joins those ranks by taking advantage of this. Just match enemy tiles and have fun with it. Oh yeah, can I repeat that? Remember that 4-star Carnage makes enemy tiles. Just want to put that out there. Anyways, oversharing for 5 yellow. She takes a friendly tile. I think this is probably one of the things I was trying to get at earlier, and I didn't put it all together yet, and I apologize. For 5 yellow, you choose a friendly strike, attack, protect tile to give to the enemy team, and you get a burst of health to the ally with the least health. So she's healing, she's giving away a tile, but if that ally is a Guardian of the Galaxy, you also decrease the strength of the given tile by 387. So that's pretty cool as well. Why would you want to do this? Well, because you've just made a friendly tile into an enemy tile. And if you're smart, you would have chosen a tile that's already matchable. So you can give it, get your healing, and then use your purple passive by matching that tile and making them afraid. It's a very easy combo, very fun, and it can definitely turn tides. Finally, there's Sleep. It's probably her least thought of ability, but it's stun lock, really. For 8 green, you stun the target for 3 turns, and then you get a 3-turn green repeater that stuns the enemy for 3 turns, and then gives them some health. But if that tile is matched by either team, you deal damage to that targeted enemy, and then you stun Mantis for 2 turns. The good thing here is that you just don't do anything with that tile, right? That person is perpetually stuck in sleep forever. Sure, they're getting healed, but you're probably pummeling them, I hope, right? Right? I want to note that if you move this down from level 5, it turns into a countdown. It's not a repeater anymore. It's only a repeater at level 5. At level 4 and lower, it's a 3-turn green countdown that stuns the enemy for 3 turns. So you stun them for 3 turns, 3-turn green countdown that stuns them for 3 turns, gives them a burst of health. It just doesn't keep going. That's as far as it goes. So I like to have it as a repeater. It might as well go on forever and ever as far as I'm concerned. Oversharing doesn't have to be that amazing. It's cool, but it doesn't have to be. So again, like some of the other characters we went over, she needs friends. She needs things to create enemy tiles, whether it's the enemy team doing it, or you bringing in people like Carnage, or Eddie Brock Venom, or Moondragon, you know, people like that. If she has those people at her disposal, she can have a lot of fun. And then she's making those 1-turn countdowns that people like Drax or Captain Marvel, you know what I'm saying? People can take advantage of those 1-turn countdowns going away. Because she's reliant on all those factors, though, to make a good team, I'd say she's definitely like a mid-tier character. She's super good when she's effective, but if you don't have those pieces in play, she's just going to sit there like a dead weight. After Mantis, we're going to go on over to Monica Rambeau. Let me go over her abilities before we rank her, because she's definitely not high tier, but I'm tossing the 2 other tiers around in my head. We're going to start off with probably her signature ability, which is this supply drone. Now, I feel like this is kind of cheesy because, you know, this character came out after WandaVision. The show was out there, and she flew a drone around. So they made that an ability? I don't know. Feels kind of weird to me. Maybe there's some connection in the comics or something, but that's where I saw it. Anyways, at the start of the turn, or the start of the game, I should say, you get a fortified repeater, which is nice, right? It starts in the top row and goes down. It's kind of like the opposite of our complex. So you get a single fortified repeater that goes down. If the repeater gets to the bottom row, it gets removed, and you generate 2 AP in all colors. And you also heal the lowest health ally for a decent amount of health. It's actually a really good ability because of the fact that it just has to get to the bottom row, and then it activates at the start of the turn. It doesn't matter how it gets there. A, a vertical match 4 can destroy a column, but this is a fortified repeater, isn't it? So it would survive and fall to the bottom, and hence you get your free AP. There's not always a match 4 available in a column. We all know this. But sometimes there's match 3s. Help it out. Get it on down the way. That's 2 AP in every color and an extra burst of healing. Why wouldn't you do that for free? I'm going to do her purple next. I don't think it's used quite as often as it should be, but you'll see why. It's 6 purple, so it's nice and cheap. It becomes a 3-turn countdown that steals up to 2 AP in each of 4 random colors. So it's a good amount of stealing, right? That's 4 times 2, so that's 8 AP for 6 purple. You're coming out on top in that deal, aren't you? While one of these tiles is on the board, this is the more important part. Enemy powers cost 4 more AP. And yes, this stacks. So let's say you have her and Peggy together. Peggy says, oh, that costs 4 more. Monica's like, oh, that costs 4 more. All of a sudden, the enemy has to spend 8 more AP just to do something. It's laughable. Anyways, if the enemy does happen to fire a power for some reason, this tile gets removed, and you just deal free damage to that enemy, even if the enemy is airborne or invisible. That's very rare. That's such a rare situation, but hey, it's there. I guess it's because of her drone. I don't know. Whatever. It's neat for preventing the enemy from doing things and then punishing them if they actually get to do it. It is an unfortified countdown, so I barely ever get to see it go off and get that AP theft, though. And finally, there's Sword Strike for 6 red. Nice and cheap. You choose a 5x5 block, which, again, that's pretty huge. And you deal okay damage to the target enemy. But for each color in which you have at least 6 AP, you destroy all the basic and enemy special tiles of that color within that block. So if you're not doing the math yet, let me do it for you. Let's say you have 6 red AP and your drone has to go through a few red to get to the bottom. Destroy the block in that area so that way you're helping your drone fall. She can use her own Sword Strike to help the drone fall to the bottom and hence generate more AP and more healing. It's a pretty good ability, all things considered. And not to mention the fact that it just takes, holding on to certain colors of AP to help get rid of enemy tiles that are sitting around causing trouble. Unfortunately, though, at the end of the day, I think I still have to, for this tier, for this 2021, I think she's more like a high-low tier, or maybe like a low-mid tier, something like that. She's got a neat passive, but you have to help it out. You have to help ease it on in to the bottom to actually get any benefit out of it. It takes a long time to do it what it's supposed to do. Her red is great, but it really doesn't do a ton of damage for what it costs. I mean, remember, that's a boosted number there. And it won't really do any destruction without more AP on hand. And finally, this purple, it's fun, except it's affecting enemy power costs. And nowadays, the biggest threats don't come from that. They come from passives. So stealing the AP is cool if your countdown survives, and blocking them from firing stuff is pretty neat. But, I mean, to be fair, it's, Polaris wouldn't mind. Karnak wouldn't mind. Certain characters don't mind that sort of problem because they're still just going to punch you in the face over and over. I think she's more like a low mid-tier, and while she has some fun ability, she starts slow. We're almost there. We're almost done with this. Morbius. Oh, come on. Do I have to say it's Morbin time? Is that a requirement of him nowadays? I need to see the movie still, to be quite honest. I missed that one. People might say good on you, but I don't know. I like to form my own opinion. Anyways, Morbius came into MPQ with a really cool shtick. This is before 4-star Doc Ock came on in. So we looked at Morbius and we said, what? You can do what again? Let's put it out there. Feeding Frenzy. When you match or destroy an enemy special tile, match or destroy, mind you, so match 4 through that row or column to get the tile, that counts. an enemy special tile, you remove 3 other enemy special tiles and deal damage to a random enemy. You know how fun that is when you have like 4-star Carnage on your team? You can do so much fun with that over and over again. You basically helping you keep the board clear of certain tiles and effects, and really makes the board in your favor. Unlike Doc Ock, he's doing damage when he removes the tiles. Doc Ock passively removes them at the start of the turn and doesn't really have a requirement though. Morbius has to match or destroy one to trigger this. So subtle differences there, but Morbius, if he can constantly keep it up, he will kill the enemy faster. Then there's Hematology. For 5 blue, you destroy an enemy strike, attack, or protect tile and create a 1-turn repeater that restores health to Morbius. This doesn't deal damage, generate AP. I want to note that destroying an enemy strike, attack, or protect tile is exactly the same language that Mantis needed to stun somebody. So yes, you can cast his blue and actually trigger Mantis's You Are Afraid passive. It's a pretty fun combo. So not only are you destroying an enemy strike, attack, or protect with 5 blue, Feeding Frenzy gets triggered to remove more tiles and deal damage, and then Mantis steps up with a 1-turn countdown to totally put someone to sleep. It's a fun little chain reaction. Finally, there's In the Shadows for 7 purple. This is probably his least thought of ability, but it's not bad. It's just the other 2 kind of overshadow it. You get 5 red or black trap tiles that, when they're matched or destroyed by the enemy, that's the tricky part there. They can't be matched or destroyed by you. You deal damage, and that's per trap tile, mind you. It's pretty decent for the cost. And reduce the strength of all the enemy strike, attack, protect tiles by an okay amount. The damage dealt by those traps are permanent. They reduce the enemy's health for the rest of the battle. So in the 4-star world, that's kind of rare. So that's kind of neat that you have this built in and they're on trap tiles, and you get 5 of them on 2 different colors potentially. It's one of the better trap makers out there. It just sucks that it has to be on has to be done by the enemy. They have to be matched or destroyed by the enemy. In other words, goons that aren't Ultron sentries are pretty much immune to this. If Morbius has a problem, it's the fact that most of his kit relies on there being enemy special tiles. His Feeding Frenzy does nothing without enemy specials. Hematology does nothing without enemy specials. Well, I mean, it can do the repeater for healing, but, I mean, come on, you're not bringing Morbius into the fight just for that, are you? And he makes some okay trap tiles, but, again, they affect enemy strike, attack, and protects. So, unfortunately, Morbius is only good for certain situations and against certain characters, unlike Doc Ock, who he could at least do tile swaps, he can do healing, he can generate AP. So, usually Doc Ock gets the leg up when it comes to controlling and being a good support character. Morbius is there more like if you know that the enemy's going to be a pain in the behind and have tons of enemy tiles to get rid of. I'd say Morbius is a good mid-tier character, but it's situational at best. He might even be like a low mid-tier because of that. But, I'll shrug my shoulders and say mid. He's really good when he comes into play. That's the thing. That's where I'm teetering. Finally, Silk. Have you had enough Silk lately? We just went over so much Silk in the Puzzle Gauntlet. I'm already tired of talking about Silk. But hey, here she is. This is the year she debuted in. It's only fair. Silk, or Cindy Moon, is another web user in the game, and she definitely deserves some notice. She's not bad at all, and she kind of does a couple different roles at the same time. 2099 does a bunch of web creation and passive damage, right? Miles Morales generates AP, Spider-Gwen's doing regen with webs. Well, Cindy's like, I want to do it all. Well, she doesn't do AP generation, but still. So for String Shot, as an active, she's going to create 3 fortified web tiles. Remember, if they're fortified, you can use them twice. Then you improve 4 friendly strike, attack, protects by an okay amount. As a passive, whenever you match or destroy a web tile, you heal Silk's lowest health ally for a good burst of health. Yes, it's kind of like Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen's regens health for the team. Silk does it for an individual, but it's a much larger amount for the individual. So Silk is more focused. Total recall is 7 blue, which basically it's a nice little toolkit of ability here. You choose strike, attack, protects, which one you want. You get 7 of those type of tiles, and you convert 5 random tiles to fortified webs. So let's redo the math. You're getting 7 tiles that are your style, strikes, attacks, or protects, and 5 random fortified webs. And of course, those webs target enemy tiles of the chosen type first, meaning if there's enemy strikes and you choose strike, then it'll target them. But if there's enemy strikes and enemy protects, and you choose enemy strikes, it's only going to target the enemy strikes, not the enemy protects. Makes sense? I hope so. Again, this is 7 blue, and you're getting 12 tiles changed to your benefit on the board. That's a very good ability, to being quite serious. Then finally, there's all wrapped up. For 8 black, you create 3 fortified web tiles. Again, use them twice. And 4 OK strength green strike tiles. Then she also doubles down and does 3 extra hits of a certain amount of damage. It's not good damage, but remember, you just made strike tiles, and you might already have strike tiles out there from her blue, or whatever else you're doing, right? There's actually potential damage in here. And then on top of that, this passive, at the start of your turn, if there are 3 or more web tiles on the board, you destroy 2 of them and deal damage. Remember, when web tiles are destroyed, she heals an ally. So, she's kind of like 2099 in the fact that she's doing damage with webs, but unfortunately she's destroying them to do that damage. So it's kind of it's a good thing, and she could definitely make tons of webs, and they're fortified, but she doesn't do it passively like Infinity Spider does in the 4-star rank, or 2099 does. So I wouldn't say she's as good as some of the other webheads in the game, but she could definitely do the damage quickly. She can control the board with special tiles, again, much like other characters can in 2021. And she has good healing potential. She's a good support character in the end for the web teams. Just probably not as good as some of the others because she doesn't do some of her stuff unless there's at least 3 webs out there. So right off the bat, she's not doing much. I'd say she's more like a mid-tier web character. 2099 and Miles and Spider-Gwen, the rest of them, they're all self-sufficient. They can work their own magic. Silk needs people in AP to help her work some of this magic. So not quite the same value. And that's that. That is all the 4 stars of 2021. And, well, it's all good, John. I was wondering, you were kind of silent there for a while. That's not like you. But that's all the 4 stars of 2021. We went through them all. There's a lot of high tiers, a good amount of mid tiers. There's only a few low people in this one. It's almost like as if in 2021 they saw the raft that Polaris gave the world, and they decided to say, okay, let us fix that. Let's make some good characters so people have options to go against her. And they did. They did really good this year. Well, at least 2021 they did. Understood, John, man. I get it. Get it completely. Okay, that was it. What's the next video going to be? I don't know. I know 2022's characters are tomorrow, but I might take a day or 2 off just to kind of recoup. I've been on this stream streak for I don't know, 6 days now or something like that. With that being said, I want to note, some people asked about the Champ 2.0 system coming out. And you might have seen it on Facebook, Instagram. There's other outlets that are talking about Champion 2.0. where you could take a 1-star Iron Man or any other character and tier them up levels. So yes, Polaris 4-star could become Polaris 5-star, theoretically. They did not say how this is going to happen. They did not say what you're going to use. Is there going to be a new currency? Is there going to be a requirement? Maybe you need to be a certain shield rank. Maybe you need to spend 1 million ISO. Maybe you need to buy an extra slot for such a big character. Maybe you need to use 2 max champs of the same character to rank them up. So in other words, if you want a 5-star Polaris, you need 2 4-star max champ Polarises to combine into each other to make one. I don't know. I'm throwing theories out there left and right. I don't know what's true and what's not. I do know this much. I don't know, so I'm hoarding. I just started today. I don't got much, but these elite tokens, I'm hoarding them. Mighty tokens, not the legendaries. I doubt the legendaries are going to come into play. At the very least, I'm contemplating I might not hoard the mighties, but the elites and the heroics and then even the standards, I'm going to hoard them for a little bit because I'm expecting them to announce this in more detail when the 10-year hits. And why I'm hoarding them is because, well, I don't have infinite amount of slots. I don't. I only have, what, 337? I know, only, right? But with 337, I still don't have every character rostered. I don't have all the slots because, well, let's face it, we don't need all these 1-stars, right? Well, now I might want them. If I could champ and rank them up, can you imagine what a 1-star Spider-Man at rank 5 could do? Like sitting there next to Shang-Chi and feeding him crits? Or maybe, you know, someone like, I wonder how much damage Venom's Devour would do at rank 5. 8 or more webs on the board is not hard to do. What would Juggernaut do at all these high levels, at level, 6 red AP? What would he do? I don't know. There's a lot of different questions in here. 1-star Black Widow, that's a team stun, remember? We can have that at the 5-star level? I'm curious. So I want to hoard. And basically when they drop it, I'll spend the hoard and then I'll make do with what I get. But I don't want to actually keep using tokens and buying slots if it's not necessary, right? So I'm preparing. What's that, John? You farm 1-star for the shield level points. Don't level up, just plus 10 for each cover versus 100 ISO. That's the same thing I do currently. But yeah, I mean, I don't really need that extra experience per se. So I'm just gonna hoard it for now, see what happens. It's not gonna hurt me to not do it, and not to mention I don't know. I got a funny feeling they'll probably drop that news either after the 10-year special or on the 10-year special. Could be wrong, but we'll find out. Oh well. Okay, yeah, I'll probably see you guys really soon. I mean, we got a new 5-star coming into the game super soon. Probably tomorrow, right? Is the new spoiler alert, 5-star Miles Carnage variant, right? And then there's a 3-star Miles coming out as well. So probably have a new 5-star thing coming on here, maybe a new pull video. I don't know. We'll find out, right? And until then, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you joining me on this journey, John, and I'll talk to you later. Good night.